A Cincinnati police sergeant is suing the city of Cincinnati, alleging discrimination against a white officer. In response, the federal government may reopen a decree that has formed Cincinnati's hiring policy for 40 years. But Mayor John Cranley is fighting the potential change, and reporter Marielle Carbone breaks down this lawsuit and explains the city's response.
I state your name. Eric Kohler.
This is Officer Eric Kohler, now Sergeant Kohler as of September.
Constitution of the United States of America.
But let's rewind a few months. Back in July of 2020, Kohler says he was passed over for a promotion to sergeant because
he was actually bypassed for promotion by a racial minority simply because Eric Kohler is white.
Kohler is now suing for discrimination. According to the Cincinnati Police Department, Kohler ranked 8th on the promotion exam. But the lawsuit alleges solely because of the 40-year-old U.S. consent decree, Robert White II, who happens to be black and who was 12th on the list, was promoted ahead of plaintiff Kohler, denying him seniority and higher pay.
Some people might say it's tough to say a white man is being discriminated against. Why would you say that this is a case of discrimination?
It's based on an immutable racial characteristic, and regardless of whether or not, someone has white skin or black skin, that's not something that can be changed.
The federal consent decree was created in 1981 to increase diversity on the police force and lays out a hiring policy the department still follows. It's signed by the city, United States, and police union. Under it, at least 34% of new hires must be black, 23% women. And when it comes to promotions to sergeant, at least 25% must be black or female. Kohler and his attorneys want to see this scrapped.
Our outcome would be, doing away with these consent decrees.
And it looks like that's a possibility. In response to Kohler's lawsuit, the United States government filed a motion last month asking the court to reopen the consent decree case, anticipating the need for guidance regarding its future.
I think it would be a huge problem.
Mayor John Cranley and Police Chief Elliot Isaac are fighting that. The two sent this letter to President Joe Biden Wednesday, saying the actions of the government could set back decades of progress in minority inclusion in the Cincinnati Police Department.
We need to maintain it in order to maintain the diversity in our department. And sadly, it has been proven by the diversity numbers in other police departments across the country and in Cincinnati prior to 1980 that but for that consent decree, we would not have the diversity that we currently have.
In the letter, Chief Isaac writes, "Without it, I would not be chief." And Cranley says the events of last summer would have been entirely different.
And, when you think about the image of Chief Isaac taking a knee last summer in honor of the concerns over George Floyd, that was a very emotionally powerful moment for the city and helped us get through a tough summer. And the fact is that without that consent decree, Chief Isaac wouldn't have been the chief to take that knee.
We've got a police chief who's black. The majority of the command staff, the assistant chiefs, are women and minorities. Are we really still remedying past discrimination?
And I asked the mayor if he thinks the current policy discriminates against white men. He says no. Now, there's also a state consent decree in place as well that helps diversify other positions, including promotions for lieutenant, captain, and assistant chief. Reporting from Police District 2, I'm Marielle Carbone, WCPO 9 News.